Hey, Salam alaikum. Good morning. I'm Dr. Kia from the Department of Medical Parasitology. In the course of parasitology, you are going to have three sections: protozoology, helminthology, and entomology. The helminthology is going to be presented with me and you, okay? For each session, I have uploaded the file you have already, okay? But before the quiz, I'm going to have a review for each session if you have any question, because this term you are going to hear lots of new scientific names, okay? So before the quiz, I'm going to mention that, especially the name of the parasites and the most important part of every session. After that, we are going to have a small quiz for every part that the results. Actually, cooperation is important and it will be considered at the end of the term after the exam, okay? For the exam, you know, it is multiple choice question. I tried to include the most important part of every session in the PowerPoint, okay? But at the end of the PowerPoint, I have introduced some references. You can use them for your actually more study, okay? So the exam is included in the PowerPoint and the material we are going to talk during the every session. Right, do you have any question? First, I'm going to give you a short introduction on the parasites and helminths. Actually, when we have two microorganisms which live close together, they have relationships which is called symbiosis. If in this symbiosis, one organism benefits from the other, it means the nutrition and the shelter is provided. So it is called parasite. And the other organism is called host. The host provides the shelter and nutrition, okay? So we are going to study the parasites which affecting the human health. So it is called medical parasitology, all right? In the medical parasitology, we have the parasites which their adult stage may happening in human. When I say adult stage, it means any parasite which have the organs, reproductive organs, okay? But sometimes the parasites which happening in human or other host, the larval stage of the helminths, the juvenile stage is happening. In this case, we say intermediate host. So intermediate host is the species which the asexual stage is developing. For example, in this parasite, this is the definitive host. It means the adult stage is happening, but this one is intermediate host. Traditionally, parasitology, medical parasitology is divided to three sections: protozoa, helminths, and arthropods, as we are going to present you in this course. So you know about the most important protozoan parasites, which has been actually presented to you by Professor Mohabbali and Professor Natiqpur. Then during 2 weeks, we are going to study about the helminths and the end of the course about the medically important arthropods. Okay, when I say about the parasites in human, it may be in the internal part of the body, for example, in the intestine, in the liver. So they are called endoparasites. But if they are on the skin, on the hair, they are called ectoparasites. Okay, ecto means outside. So we want to talk about helminths. Okay, helminths actually have motile activity, and some helminths are important in the medical parasitology. They can be divided either based on the morphology or either based on the transmission to human. In most of the textbooks, the classification of the medically important helminths is based on the morphology. It means when we look at the parasites, if they are flattened like this one, it is called platyhelminths. Platyhelminths, so they are the parasites which have flat body, okay? But if they are like this one, cylindrical, they called nematodes, okay? So we have two phylum, platyhelminths and nematohelminths. If a helminth is flattened, but the body is leaf-like, it is called trematode or fluke. But if they are flattened and the body is segmented, they have different parts like this one. It is called cestodes or tapeworms, all right? There are another differences between three groups. One of them is related to the actually intestine. Actually, the cestodes, they don't have any alimentary canal, okay? So they absorb the nutrition from the uttermost of the body, which is called tegument. In the trematodes, they have the mouth and pharynx and the intestine, but without any anus, okay? Just one opening at the mouth. But in the nematodes, they have mouth, they have esophagus, intestine, and anus, okay? The other difference is related to reproductive system. Actually, you see here, we have two parasites. This one is male and this one is female. So every single nematode is either male or female. But for the cestodes, all of them are hermaphrodite. Do you know hermaphrodite? It means
we have just one single organism that have the reproductive system of female and
exactly. Okay, so every single cestodes have both male and female reproductive system, so it is called hermaphrodite. But about the trematodes, most of the trematodes are hermaphrodite, but we have a group which called schistosoma. Like the nematodes, they have male and female. So in such case, it is called dioecious. Okay, so these are the most important difference between three groups based on the morphology. Okay, but according to the route of transmission to human, this classification is proposed by World Health Organization. Okay, they say regardless of the morphology, the parasites which are transmitted to human, they are either snail-transmitted helminths. It means snails are necessary in the life cycle of the parasites. Actually, all the trematodes are in this group, snail-transmitted helminths. The other meat-transmitted helminths, it means part of the life cycle is happening in the meat of the animals, for example, cattle, pig. When human eat the infected meat, they get infected with the parasites. The next group are soil-transmitted helminths or geohelminths. Part of the development life cycle is happening in the soil, okay? Especially in tropical and subtropical areas, they are more prevalent. The next group are direct transmitted helminths. It means they don't need snails or any other intermediate host for the life cycle. They don't need to expand sometimes in the environment. Soon after the release, they are infectious for the same person or other persons. The last group are arthropod transmitted helminths. It means at least one species of the arthropods acts as intermediate host. In this group, we have filarial nematodes and helminths, which is called guinea worm. But our classification is according to the morphology. Okay, first we start with the cestodes or tapeworms. Okay, in the cestodes, they have some general and common characteristics. All the adult cestodes live in the intestine of the definitive host. Based on what I said today, you think why? Why all the cestodes, the adult, are living in the intestine, not in the other part of the body? Why? You know, the cestodes don't have alimentary canal. The nutrition is happening through the outermost part of the body. So the best place in the human they can live and absorb the nutrition is intestine. But if they are living in the intestine, they need attachment organs. Okay? Otherwise, there will be shed. So the attachment organs in most of them is 4 suckers. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 suckers. All right. Okay. What's the problem? Okay, so most of them have 4 suckers. In addition of the suckers, some of them have hook. The hooks are important in the attachment in the intestine. All right. After the scolex, there's neck. The neck area is very important because they have germinal cells producing new segments. The segments are at the beginning called immature. It means they don't have reproductive system. The middle ones, like this one, are called mature proglottids because they have both male and female reproductive systems. At the last, terminal ones are called gravid, which are full of eggs. This is an example of the trematodes. For example, this species is Fasciola hepatica. It is leaf-like. At the third session, we are going to talk about. And for most of the important helminths I'm going to talk about in the practical class, you are going to see them on either the macroscopy or under the microscope. Okay, in the nematodes, as I said, they are either male or female. What about this? What do you think this actually coin is here? What is the relationships? Can you guess? The size of the nematodes which infect human are from a few millimeters up to more than 1 meter. No. You see? Pardon? No. Can you explain it? What is shape? Okay. You see, when they are cylindrical, like this, if we look this side, if we prepare cross section, in the cross section they are round, okay? So that's the reason. So the nematodes are also called roundworms. That's the reason, okay? So because they are cylindrical, in the cross section like this one, they are called, so it's the other name for the nematodes. Right, these are the most important helminths happening in human, and during the helminthology course, we are going to talk about them. When I talk about the helminths, some of them the adult stage happening in human, some of them the actually larval stage. These are the most important references you can actually study. For example, this one, Medical Parasitology by Markel and Gobes, is very important according to references recommended for medical students, okay? Every several years, we have a new edition. The last edition, which has been released, is 2020. And this is another references that I have used. Okay.